breathing short, and then some of my clothes I
Thursday. I'm looking for Thursday. Has anyone seen Thursday anywhere? Yeah. Thursday. Medea. I'm here. Welcome to Inside the Zone. To my online and on viewers, meaning those of you on the radio. It's good to be here just for you. Good evening. I know you missed me on Monday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be here with you on Monday, but thankfully I'm fine and I'm here. A few persons sent messages asking, "Lady, do you okay?" And I am grateful because it could have been a case where nobody even wondered. They just said, "Oh, she's not here." That's it. And so I'm thankful to those who reached out to me. Good evening, I'm your producer and presenter of the show, Inside the Zone, the community platform where information is guaranteed. Broadcasting on Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM, Caribbean Vibes Radio Network, www.caribbeanvibesradio.com, Touch FM Radio 90.1. This is your host station, Linkage Radio. I hope everyone is doing well. Man, today I felt like I really worked for my money. All of this week. Even when I was heading through the door, I'm processing in my mind. Did I? And then I walked out saying I accomplished quite a bit today. I tell you. But nevertheless, it's Thursday, and as you know, it's the third Thursday feature of the show. So we're gonna get our praise on. But before all of that, the show is brought to you by Cooler Runnings, Jamaican restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. Call them 718-324-7484. How are you doing? Yes, you. I'm looking at you via my YouTube channel, Inside the Zone with Lady D. Hey. I'm feeling good. My eyes are well. My ears are fine. My hands and my feet. Cognitively, I'm centered and where I need to be. What more? My feet move. Man, you know. Grateful. I'm grateful. Just to let you know, and if you're joining me for the very first time, Inside the Zone is a culture-centric radio program that connects the Jamaican diaspora and international audiences globally. The show's content captures its people's social, cultural, and collective views on issues that affect their communities: family, health, finance, education, immigration, housing, wealth management, life and health insurance, real estate, and food insecurity, and so much more. On a Monday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Here on Linkage Radio, your budding and buzzing station, 24/7, 365 days for the year. I want to get going at 26 minutes after 6 o'clock. Our telephone number is 914-600-4228, 914-600-4228. I feel like I'm singing 914-600-4228. Give me a call, call me. In this evening's program, we have Inspirational Zone. We get a praise on with great gospel music, followed by New Zone. It's a rebroadcast of the news courtesy of the Jamaica Information Service. Music Zone. It's Gospel Music Thursday. In our open discussion today, murder of 8-year-old girl in Jamaica. In Health Zone at 7 o'clock. It's Men's Health Month. And this evening, on Men Talk, M-A-N, with Kevin and Renee, owners of Dykal Health and Wellness, a Jamaican-owned medical office located in the busy commercial area of East Fort Lauderdale in the state of Florida. Let's discuss testicular cancer, prostate cancer, and erectile dysfunction. Topics that weigh heavily on men's minds. You're all saying something going on, but you're not talking. You're observing. You're feeling things. You're seeing things. But you're not talking. You're keeping it to yourself. And you're not going to the doctor. It's Men's Health Month. All the men who are tuning in, I'd like you to invite someone to tune in with you. If you're social media savvy, you can jump on to the YouTube channel, search for Inside the Zone with Lady D. Or if you're on the radio, share the bandwidth. 104.5, 101.7, 90.1. Okay? Good evening to everyone. That's what's going to be taking place on the show this evening. And right now, Denise, I think you just need to rain it down right now. Pull down, and let's get our praise on. I would like to stomp my feet and give a shout because God has been good to me. How about you? Wherever you are tuning in. My name is Denise Gomez. That's on my birth certificate, and I'd like to welcome you to the show. I'm affectionately known as Lady D. Good evening. Let's get our praise on. It's Inside the Zone right here on Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7 FM. King Ryan sent this to me the other day, and I knew I could not have played it then. So I'm sharing it with you this evening.
My healer, my savior, my redeemer, provider, Jesus, savior, master, changer, healer, alpha. He reigns, he reigns, he reigns. We give glory to the Lord, he reigns. We give glory to the Lord, he reigns. To the Lord, He reigns. We give glory to the Lord, He reigns. He reigns, He reigns, He reigns. We give glory to the Lord. Oh, He reigns, He reigns, He reigns, He reigns. Oh, He reigns, He reigns, He reigns. We give glory to the Lord. Yeah,
so that we got right there. Okay. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. On the show Inside the Zone. It's inspirational. We get our praise on. Good evening to everyone tuning in. Don't forget our telephone number is 914-600. 4228 914-600. If you are there and you're tuning in and you're saying, "Oh man, I love that music." So do I. And I'd just like to welcome those of you who are tuning in for the very first time. My name is Denise Gomez. You're locked into Center Stage this evening. The platform where voices are heard, people connect. 6:34 p.m. Once again, our telephone number is 914-600. 914-600-4228. And at 7 p.m. this evening, we'll be getting because the show runs from 6 to 8. Don't forget. So at 7 o'clock, we'll be having our Man Talk Health Zone, and it's for the men. We're talking about testicular cancer, prostate cancer. We're talking about erectile dysfunction. These things that men you need to observe. Once you observe or you feel something, you need to take care of it. I'm inviting you to share the link. Those of you who are on my YouTube channel, to share the link. Okay. So a lot of doubling up is going on here this evening. I'll address it in a minute to my online audience. So please bear with me. Just want to say hello to you and to spread the word that good information, valuable information that you're not going to pay for. That's free. That's free. So I would like you to actually share the link with someone. And let them know. Okay. Let them know that we're going to be having great discussion this evening. Now. Each and every Thursday, we are either having a discussion of some sort, something relative to some topical issue. There's never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. And so I would just like you to stick and stay with me for a few minutes. I just have to rectify a situation here that I'm experiencing, and I'll get to you in a minute. Enjoy some more music. It's Center Stage. Welcome everyone. It's Lady Denise Gomez. Are you celebrating your birthday today? If you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday to you. If it's your wedding anniversary, happy anniversary to you. A baby was born somewhere in the world today. We welcome life into the world. Yes, somebody is hugging their baby, loving the smell of their baby. There's some bit of expectation, and they're apprehensive. But you know what? It's gonna be fine. To my online audience, yes, I will. It's my aim to address the technical that you're experiencing, but nevertheless, give me a few minutes, and I'll be back. Stick and stay inside the zone.
If I'm really honest, let me tell it like it is. I've been holding on to things I never should. I forgot the promise. If I trusted him, I know that he will work it for my good. I surrender. All to you. I surrender. Clap your hands. I surrender. All to you. I'm letting it go. I surrender all to you. Shout it out, sing, I surrender. I surrender all to you. I'm letting go. Woo!
It's Gospel Music Thursday.
I'm letting
I believe I'm fine now.
You got that raise it real loud, y'all. Say, I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. 'Cause you are more than able, fully faithful. You are big enough. You are strong enough. You are more than able, fully faithful. You are big enough. You are strong enough. You are strong enough. You are more than.
Thank you, Jerome.
He's fully faithful. You are big enough. You are strong enough. See, you are more than able. You are big enough. You are strong enough. You are big enough. You are strong enough. You are big enough. You are big enough. You surrender. I surrender. I surrender. All to you. I'm letting you go. Oh, I surrender. You are strong enough. No matter what it is. God, He can handle it. You are Somebody put your hands on it right here. If you know we serve a big God.
Ooh, wow. I love that. Tasha Cobbs Leonard. Yep. Tasha Cobbs Leonard. She's doing her thing. I love that instrumental right there. 6:43 p.m. Good evening, everyone. So, yes, the online situation has been rectified. I'm so thankful that we took care of that. Don't forget our telephone number is 914-600-4228. I'd just like to get into our open discussion because at 7 p.m. we do have the Health Zone feature. Recently, we heard the bizarre news coming out of Jamaica that an 8-year-old had been abducted from school. And when I heard the news, I'm like, what? What is that? And as the investigation progressed, leading to her eventual passing because she died. When I saw the headline pop up in my phone that she died, I held the phone and I felt like I was so sad. I felt like I was gonna just burst out into tears, like we would say bawl. I felt it so much, and right away I was thinking of the family. I was thinking of her friends at school. I was thinking of the community and the nation. No matter what happens, we're all connected. If something happens here in this country to one of us or anyone at all, it impacts us because it's a neighbor, it's a friend, it's someone. And the first thing that crossed my mind, I said, when they mentioned that a woman may be involved, I said, what is that? Seriously, I said to myself, is this reprisal? What is it? Because she was abducted and then thrown from a vehicle and somebody found her. You know, people found her. But by the time they got her to hospital and they tried what they could have, she couldn't make it. 8 years old, you have children dying at 10. And in that same time, I also heard of a young woman who was found face down in somewhere, I think in Westmoreland. And I'm like, dear Jesus. Right away, my mind took me now to, I don't want to wonder what it is like, but you have to say to yourself, in that moment when they see death, what is that like for them? Knowing what is about to be meted out to them, what is that like? Even that 8-year-old. I'm sure she was crying, I'm sure she was pleading. And you know, you slashed her throat, and it's not an animal. Oh my goodness. It bothered me. But you know, each time when I discuss things of this nature, this magnitude, I am not locked into my own box that I live here in a particular city and that there are not immeasurable levels of crime that is happening where I live. It might not be my neighbor, but it's somebody a distance away from me. And it's the same thing. We're here watching our television sets and we see it. What we say, however, is the nation that we are from, the soil on which we were born, and we hear of things happening there, it impacts us even more because we feel helpless. We can't do anything. And all I could do is, whenever I'm praying, I just keep thinking of the family and asking God to protect them and to keep them and that they're not out of their minds. Good evening. Welcome to Open Discussion.
Good evening, Lady D,
My
and
dear.
your guests, your listeners, and everyone. How are you this evening?
Longing to see you, my young lady.
Lady D, I said, let me call Lady D before I get into the shower. Lady D,
oh dear.
I was out there when I heard the news,
Mm-hmm.
when it came over, and I was sick to my stomach because the child goes to Brayton.
Mm-hmm.
They said the child goes to Brayton basic school. She and her younger brother, and she was found in Vineyard Town by bleeding. It was a military
Roosevelt Avenue.
Somebody from up by a military there saw the child. I saw them and rushed the child. And I was, when they said 50-50 and they kept, they were really working to save her. But Saturday morning when I heard she passed,
Yes.
I said, what is going on? And it's a lady. That is the thing that I am beating on. They said it's a lady pick them up at school.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And I hope it doesn't go like the one that the case just finished there last week, where the guy went free, that they killed 4 years ago, that killed the other girl going to school. He was 16, she was 15, and he walked last week. They were protesting at the courthouse. They were poor, but I was so. When I saw the mother, she was just weeping. I just put myself in her space, because I have children, grandchildren. Lady D, I don't know what is going on out there.
I know, because now they have a electronic facial identification image. You know, there's a technique that they use, and so they were able to
Profile
publish,
her.
yes, and publish an image of what she could possibly look like. So if there are people who know her, and they better not get into the aiding and abetting scenario, because that's not good. If you know her and hiding her, you know, those kinds of things.
Yes, I know that they are gifted for that down there.
Yes. So it baffles you until they find her and they get to the bottom of it, because there are a lot of, you know, things going around. Let me use a simple word. A lot of things going around about what could possibly have happened, what caused it. But my thing is, no matter what the root cause of it is, a child should never pay for adult wranglings.
Yes, because they said her father is a police officer, and I heard they were saying, quote unquote, I didn't heard this on the news. It was somebody telling me that a client, one of her clients, was letting her know that the mother has the mother is a witness to a high-profile case. So, Lady D, this is not my Highland that I was born in.
Yeah, we don't understand it.
It is getting from bad to worse. And who is set to guard us, the police officers? They are the few that are garbage. They let the whole force feel belittled.
I am telling you, young lady, I just...
It is getting from bad to worse.
It's horrible. But I'm so glad to hear you, and I'm hoping we can catch
we'll
up soon.
Talk. Be
Yes.
blessed.
Thank you for your call.
All right.
I appreciate you. Good evening, Bet. How are you? Good to see you, my Bet. Nice to see you. Welcome to all those who are tuning in this evening. Don't forget, coming up in a few minutes, it's now 6:53 p.m. However, at 7 o'clock will be Health Zone. And in Health Zone, we'll be talking about men's health. What a thing, what a thing, what a thing. Good evening. Welcome to Open Discussion on Center
How are
Stage.
you doing at this time, Lady D?
At this time, I'm talking to you, and I'm seemingly fine.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm fine also.
Yes, good to hear. You know, I didn't see you for the one little moment. Did you recognize me, by the way, Eddie?
Sure I did, Lady D. That is why I touched my head. And I was drying my hair.
Why?
I didn't want to say anything, but I said change up, but I recognize you.
Okay. No, I was just sporting one of them thing that you throw on your head top.
I realize it.
Okay. Good evening to you. What say you now?
I did not stay there, Lady D, because I cannot stand up for
Oh,
how many
Lord.
hours. I enjoy myself.
Right, I understand. Next time, you don't have one of your folding chairs that you can take with you?
I can't be bothered with that, Lady D.
I'm only trying to help, so don't beat
No,
me.
but again, they're on the sidewalk, so chair couldn't hold the Lady D.
Yes, so you know that you would have to just either come, pick up, and leave, or if you're able to stand for long periods of time, then you stand up.
Right.
Gotcha.
I like to go to a place where I can sit and enjoy myself. And I'm so disappointed I didn't see my favorite, Miss Tyson.
Oh, no, she wasn't there. She wasn't there this year. Sorry, I'll pass on the message for you. But it was good and we had a good time.
Right, but not me.
Oh, Lord. But you got your meal, though.
No.
You didn't get no food?
No, lady.
Why?
As I talk to you, I just leave.
What is that now?
I just leave.
Hello. So whose fault then? What is it?
I don't know whose fault,
But you didn't have to leave.
I
I was
leave.
moving around so much. So, if it were a case where you could have said to me, you can get my food for me or something, I could have gotten a meal for you.
Whenever I'm going anywhere to a lady, I always have something to eat,
That's true, sir. All right.
Yeah.
You have
Because
your...
sometimes they promise the food and none is there. So I always eat. I was just hungry.
Okay, got you. Betty is on my YouTube and she's saying hi to you.
Hi, Betty. How are you?
Right. All right, Eddie. Good to hear you.
Take care.
Take it easy. All righty.
Okay.
Okay, we're winding down nicely. It's now 4 minutes to 7 o'clock. Stick and stay with me. My name is Denise, Lady D. Gomez. And, of course, Health Zone. Hot topics in Health Zone this evening. And it's a special Thursday because we have an extended version of that topic. Customarily, I would talk to my guests for about half an hour. But this evening being health, we need to dissect all these areas of interest to men and to their spouses and their families, because whatever affects them, and they don't address it, then it's going to affect everybody else. Because now I have to be your caregiver. I have to go carry you to doctor. All those kinds of things. You get what I'm saying, don't you? Inside the Zone with the Lady D, Denise Gomez. It's a beautiful day here in the Northeast. They say we should be having interesting weather. I don't know. But that aside, want to say blessings to everyone who came out on Saturday for the Customer Appreciation Day over at Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant.
If you are hungry, come to Cooler Runnings Restaurant. Located at 1802 Nereid Avenue, corner of Wickham Avenue in the Bronx, we specialize in the best Jamaican and American cuisine, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We offer free in-house delivery, minimum $20 purchase, and we also have Uber Eats. We do barbecue Thursdays, fish fry Fridays, and seafood Saturdays. For more information, give us a call for our address and menu, 718-324-7484. Once again, that's 718-324-7484. Cooler Runnings Restaurant, simply the best Jamaican food.
Stay on the line, don't go anywhere. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Denise Lady D. Gomez, and of course, you're tuned in to Center Stage, the platform where voices are heard and people connect, right here on Linkage Radio, your budding and buzzing station, 24/7, 365 days for the year. Inside the Zone started June 5, 2008, and the show is still going because I am a force to be reckoned with, and I'm going to press my way through. Sure, you need. I'm sending the word. Woo! And so it's been a good run. I've met so many people, done so many things, been a lot of places, and it has been good. And those of you who are here with me since June 5, 2008, I've met a lot of you, and I have, yeah. And Betty started with us. Hello. And now Betty has moved on and have her own platform. I'm telling you, Linkage Radio should have gone down in the record books. We started having our award show. We ran that for a few years. But man, it's been a good run. 1 minute and counting to 7 o'clock, and my guest is holding patiently online because this evening we will be talking about man talk. And there are men listening. Don't hold the information for yourself. Please the information is supposed to be for other people other than you. So please share and let everyone know that, hey, things are happening here over at Inside the Zone. You better hop on over. And so let me go to the phone line and say good evening to you. It's 7 o'clock.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, the line is a little bad. Could you speak up some more? I got a little staticky thing going on.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Are you hearing me any better now?
No. Are you calling? You're not on speaker, are you?
Oh, we are.
No, we
Should we
can't.
take it off?
Yes, we can't do the speaker, so you're going to have to.
Okay, can you hear
okay.
us a little bit better?
No. What you are you in the same space?
Yes.
So what I'd suggest you do, one of you call me, and then you conference each other.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
conference,
We
and
will
then
do
yes,
that.
and so you may give me a call back.
Okay.
Okay, bye bye. All right, that's Kevin and Renee, and they're going to be calling me back so that we can man talk this evening, because I am so intrigued by the topics, the subtopics that we'll be addressing this evening: testicular cancer, prostate cancer, and erectile dysfunction in men. Please share the link. Those of you who are on my YouTube channel, those of you who are on the radio, the bandwidth 104.5, 101.7, please say, hey, tune into Linkage Radio. Lady D has an interesting feature in Health Zone this evening. Good evening. Welcome back.
Thank you, Lady Z.
Absolutely.
This is Dr. Clarke.
I could go work with who know, AT&T, somebody. You sound perfect. Where is husband?
Yes. He is right here as well.
Okay, sounds so much better. It's a pleasure having you both, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Health Zone, or feature this evening, Man Talk. And my guests are Dr. Renee Clarke, board-certified family nurse practitioner, and Kevin Clarke. He's MSN RN, BC Chief Executive Officer, and Clinical Informaticist. I'm like, I had to break this down, so I could get it
Clinical
right.
informaticist.
Informaticist, here you go. So welcome to both of you. It's a pleasure, and I'd just like you to say hello, and then I'll do a brief introduction.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. We're looking forward to having this conversation about Man Talk with all my male friends out there, and of course our female friends as well.
Of course.
They'll be able to share it with their male friends.
Mm-hmm. And Mrs. Clarke?
Yes. Pleasant good evening, everyone. We are so excited to join in on this venture with you, Lady D. Thank you for the invitation. We can't wait to talk to things them tonight.
That's right. So please to talk up. Okay. Now, Dykal Health and Wellness is a Jamaican-owned medical office located in the busy commercial area of East Fort Lauderdale in the state of Florida. They specialize in providing primary care services for adults with a very robust medical weight loss program. Okay, I do apologize for that. With a very robust medical weight loss program that has been heavily featured in the media across the diaspora. They take pride in caring for men and women requiring hormone replacement therapy, administering intravenous nutrients, and also providing simple gynecological services along with contraceptive management for women of all ages. The proud owners of this entity have dedicated almost 30 years to the field of health and wellness, which has provided them with a unique vantage point in caring for individuals from all walks of life. We proudly offer 1-hour consultations for our clientele to ensure that individuals receive top-tier patient-focused treatment of all times. We offer virtual and telehealth options, allowing you to be seen from the comfort of your home. Welcome, welcome. It's time to talk man talk. Now, yes, we've gotten a synopsis of what you do and all of that, but I was so taken by the fact that you wanted to discuss 1, 2, 3 areas that concerns men, things that a lot of men, they don't want to talk about. And I was saying earlier that they may see signs and they tell no one. So as medical practitioners, what first comes to mind about men's health?
That's a great question. You know, men are unique creatures. And when I think about men's health, I consider a holistic approach. I consider all of the things that impact men. It's not just the physical. We also think about the psychosocial or even the psychological concerns. We think about the spiritual concerns, the physical, of course, the financial, all of those things that make men men. Mm-hmm. And when it comes on to health, we have to approach health from a holistic standpoint. It cannot just be one thing.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And why did you both enter this field? Quickly, you can just share your story.
My story is going to be nice and quick, as you said, quickly. It was by buck-ups, if you want to say, or by accident, or by losing a bet, pretty much. Healthcare is a second career for me, actually. It's not my first career. My first career was actually in banking in Jamaica. If anybody remembers Citizens Bank and RBTT, that was me back then.
Okay, got you.
Then after several years of that, and I migrated to the U.S., we relocated to Texas. Mm-hmm. And I was working on the administrative side of things in the hospital, and everybody kept saying, including my wife, why don't you become a nurse? And I'm like, I don't think that's for me. And again, if we're talking about man talk, being the masculine person, I'm like, no, nursing is not for me, will never be for me, never ever in my life. And then here I am 12 years later.
Yes.
The bet I lost a bet saying, okay, nursing is a very, very hard career to get into nursing school. Mm-hmm. So my bet was that, okay, if I got in on the first try, that means I was supposed to be in nursing. So did the application in April, forget all about it. Here I was going into my other things, taking care of life and doing everything else. Then comes August when they're sending out all the acceptance letters. And I get this letter from the school saying, oh, you're accepted. And, oh, by the way, you start next week.
So bet went out the door.
It was like an easy transition. It's like, okay, yes. It was from yesterday to tomorrow. No nursing to nursing. And that's how it went for me.
Thank you.
And the rest is history
from there. The rest is history. And Renee?
And for me, it was a little bit different. I always wanted to do something in the medical field. And while I was attending Wilmer's High School for Girls in Jamaica, I actually was on my way to become a medical doctor. And my parents had different plans. They decided to ship me off to New York the first chance they got. And I grew up in New York City. And when I got there, my stepmom, who is now a retired nurse, she really encouraged me. She said, Renee, doctors don't have the autonomy. They don't have the money. They, they need all the help from the nurses. It's really the nurses that run the show.
Right.
And I'm thinking that cannot even be possible. And then as I watched her going out each night, going to work, I really realized, she was coming home with some clients. She was making some money. And she was the boss at what she did. And honestly, I changed my mind about wanting to become a medical doctor, mainly because, one, I wanted to start a family right away. And I didn't want to sit there and wait 10 years of, school plus residency and all of that. So I chose the better part as far as I'm concerned.
Well.
And I pursued my degree to become a nurse practitioner much later.
Well, congratulations to both of you. And I'd like to say
Thank you.
hi to your mom. I'm sure she's somewhere right now.
Yes, she is listening in.
Right. All righty. So let's start talking now. I just wanted you both to share with the audience as to who you were. So I'm sure they got a good gist of it. So we can start our conversation in Man Talk this evening. Now, you chose these topics, and I know that they weigh heavily on men's minds. And in your daily practice, I'd like you to just start talking about the experiences that you have seen and the fact that you chose testicular cancer, prostate, and erectile dysfunction.
Yes. So, not just in our practice on a daily basis, but as we mentioned, Kevin and I have a combined 30 years in healthcare. And although for me, most of that has been in women's health, for Kevin, he was the one who really saw most of these diseases that impacted men. And of course, once we opened our practice and we started having men come in, I got to realize that black men were just at a complete disadvantage. One, there was a bit of a lack of education about their bodies. And that is a little bit unfortunate for me because most of the men that we do serve are older adults. They're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. So you would think that by those ages, persons would be very well acclimated with what the human body should do, what is normal, and what is abnormal. And we realized that there was just a general lack of education and information, correct information out there. And so these topics weighed heavily on our hearts because it truly was one of those topics that impacted our diaspora more than any other. And black men, I have to say, we realized that our black men were at a disadvantage.
And if I may ask, now, when somebody comes in, so let's use your practice now, okay? Dykal Health and Wellness. When a man comes in and you are doing, your sit down one-on-one with him and going through the screening process, what are some of the things you observe that they are so ignorant to? That perhaps as a person, you have to say, oh no. But then as a medical practitioner, you have to say, well, and explain to them.
Yeah, sometimes it's a lack of what disease processes look like, a lack of what, how things are possibly treated. Most of the men that will come into our office, they only think about drink little tea, a gas.
Right.
That is the common thing for most of them. And while herbal supplements are great, we don't want to just use herbal supplements blindly without actually knowing some of the underlying causes of things that are truly happening in the body. And that is part of what I realize with men a lot. And Kevin has a different vantage point. I'll let him share his experience as well.
And after he does, then we'd like you to start defining for us what they are, symptoms, etc., and what they need to do.
Yes. And so I think from my standpoint as well, a lot of times, us as men, we typically tend to blow things off. We don't take it as serious as we should. And then that in turn leads to us finding out these diagnoses a lot later than we actually should find them out. For example, if there's and we're scared of speaking about them as well. And I think it's partially cultural related. We're grown up to be macho. We can't show weakness. So most times when I'm in the hospital, these individuals are taking me one away from to the side and saying, hey, this is going on with me. So I said, did you speak with so-and-so about that? Like, no, I haven't spoken to anybody else. You're the first person I was able to tell. Or like they felt comfortable enough to come to me versus going to someone else. And that is the unfortunate part, because we want these individuals to be advocates for themselves and to be able to speak up and share these things with individuals who are able to do something about it. But if they come to me as the RN at the time, and then the most I could do is actually refer it up the ladder, speak to the doctor, let them know that, hey, this is what's happening with the patient, and so on and so forth. So I think our fear as men of not being able to express ourselves and show our vulnerability is a big detractor and causes a lot of harm to us.
Yes.
Versus helping us.
To their own detriment.
And then yes, it's very detrimental to us because we have this macho feeling of trying to be strong and show toughness.
Yes. So what are the signs and symptoms of all three? And of course, I know you will share the information among yourselves.
Sure. So I want to start off with testicular cancer. I think it's one that is not very well understood or spoken about, and it is not a very common type of cancer. As a matter of fact, it truly impacts more of the young male. So someone, just entering puberty, so around age 15 to about age 45. That's where you're going to see testicular cancer more often. On an annual basis in the United States, you may have less than about 30,000 cases. So it's not very common at all. However, this is the organ that is going to impact your fertility later on in life. So it is very, very important for these young males to start getting familiar with doing what we call a testicular examination. Now, most of these young men between 15, 18 would be going to their pediatrician to have these examinations done, but we also want to empower them to be able to do these exams on their own. And what we're looking for, that would be something to report. If when you look at the scrotum and one side looks much bigger than the other, or when you're doing an examination, you're feeling any type of nodules or lumps or any type of swelling, it may or may not be accompanied with pain. However, that requires some form of an evaluation. As I mentioned, it's more common in young men, and it can impact individuals if there has been a family history with testicular cancer, or a history where there was an undescended testicle at birth. So typically by the time you're about, getting ready to be born, so you're 9-10 months, right, of gestation, you're expected that both testes would be descended, and there are two of them. There are, however, some babies that are born with none of the testes descended or one testes descended. In that case, we want new mothers, to be very astute about checking. And we do that in the hospital. When the babies are born, we do an evaluation to make sure that there are two testes that are descended. But if they're not, they need to have a surgical procedure done, especially within the first 6 months to a year. Otherwise, this puts this child at risk for future testicular cancer. So as we're getting into risk factors, that is one of the big risk factors for testicular cancer, a history of an undescended testes, right? So we're checking for any enlargement, any nodules, any irregularities. But you're not going to know unless you're doing these exams. And just like how I would encourage women to do monthly breast exams, I would encourage our young men between the ages of 15 to 45 to do a monthly testicular self-examination.
Wow. I never knew about there's a friend of mine I knew years back. Don't know if he's still alive. I would hope so. But he had said he had one. And he had one because they had detected something and had to do a surgery of some sorts. So he had one. But I didn't realize that, you start to figure out by gestation and all that. That's very interesting.
Yes,
absolutely. We don't think of that.
Yes.
We know that sometimes children are born and there are abnormalities, but these are things people need to start thinking of. Thank you so much, Renee, for sharing that with us. Now, what else would you like to share with regards to testicular cancer, or who is moving on to prostate and all of that?
Right. So,
and if you don't mind, hold your thought a moment. I'd just like to take a quick commercial break. It's 20 minutes after 7 o'clock. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned in to Health Zone. My guests this evening are Kevin and Renee Clarke. They are the owners and medical practitioners in the Dykal Health and Wellness Facility in Florida, and they have chosen to join me here this evening to talk Man Talk. They're featuring testicular cancer, prostate cancer, and erectile dysfunction. Renee just spoke on testicular cancer, and we have 2 remaining points. And we would also like to welcome our audience to give us a call if you need to ask a question. I'm sure they would be open to answering you. They are located in Florida, so, if at any time those of you who may be going to Florida or you reside there, you're listening and you've sent the link on to someone else, then that's a way of connecting with them. And at some point in the program, I'll allow them to pass on their information. So we'd like to welcome you to Health Zone right here on Center Stage, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. Go ahead.
So, with testicular cancer, once you have gotten acclimated to doing these monthly examinations, if you found any of the abnormal findings that I just discussed, we want you to go to your healthcare provider to have a history and a physical examination done. Sometimes we may end up doing a testicular ultrasound in order to be able to diagnose this phenomena, or we might do some blood tests, or there might be a combination of both. And then, of course, if testicular cancer is something that has been diagnosed, then we may refer you off to a urologist and or an oncologist for management.
Okay.
The other cancer that I really wanted to spend a little time on as well would be prostate cancer. And Lady D, during our research on prostate cancer, you would be surprised to know that some of the highest death rates of prostate cancer actually happen in black men, and not just black men, but men from Zimbabwe, Barbados, Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries like Zambia. So our Caribbean men have the highest rate of death from prostate cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Worldwide, on an annual basis, back in 2020, there were over 1.5 million new cases of prostate cancer. And majority of those cases were impactful for men from the Caribbean. That says a lot for us. So we have come to realize that our black men are not feeling comfortable to go in to see a healthcare provider, one. They're not feeling comfortable having certain testing done, certain evaluation. So, for example, the screening tests for prostate problems can be a blood test. We call it a PSA, or prostate specific antigen. But another one that is a little bit, taboo in some cultures and for some men is the actual digital rectal examination. And that is where a healthcare provider will use a finger to put inside the rectum to actually check the size of the prostate gland. Are there any irregularities in the shape of the gland? Like, what is happening? But men get so uncomfortable doing those exams. Yet here we are saying that the highest death rates are happening in our Caribbean men. And I think that's something that needs to change.
Yes.
That's for sure.
And you know something I mentioned earlier, that when they do not get their regular examinations done, and if in the event they are diagnosed with prostate cancer, it becomes their spouse's concern, it becomes the family, and everybody gets caught into having to work around the clock, you know, accompanying them on doctor's visits and all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
And you wonder why. It's just fear. I believe fear have gripped men. The fear of knowing what
I 100% agree with that fear of knowing aspect of it. You hit the nail on the head from my standpoint. I believe that a lot of it is probably culturally based. We're, especially from Jamaica, from a Jamaican standpoint, where there's an aversion to certain things related to the rectum. So nobody wants it to be touched. So we are almost against it because of where the testing needs to be done.
Yes.
And at that point, with that fear and with that cultural bias, so to speak, against that, it has affected our ability to actually go in and get screened and get screened appropriately and in the appropriate timing. And a lot of it culturally as well, like I said before, where we are thinking that it's very insignificant. One of the issues, one of the signs for prostate cancer is rectal bleeding. But if you see a little blood in your stool and you're like, okay, it will go away, it's not that bad, I think I'll be okay. I'm going to wait and see if it happens again the next time I go. Then you keep on waiting and say, oh, it's gone, then I'm not going to go.
Yes.
And you keep pushing it off. Eventually, by the time you get convinced or by the time your significant other drags you in to get it checked, it is probably at that stage where it's very difficult to rein in. And therefore, you eventually are given a diagnosis of a stage 3, stage 4, etc., with no return.
Oh my goodness. You know, we've seen a lot of people make presentations on these topics. And you say to yourself, it's such powerful information, informative. I should do something. But there's always, I'll get to it tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll go. And they never end up going.
That is so true.
They never end up going. And in this month of June, yes, there are dates on the calendar that, you know, it's observed, but you have to live the life every day.
Absolutely.
So how much more can we do to sensitize them that it's not just about you? The condition is affecting you, but it will affect everybody else.
Exactly. And that's why I started off by saying that men's health really has to be a holistic approach, right? It really does impact everything. The physical is just one little subset. But here at Dykal Health and Wellness, we want to raise such awareness for health promotion where men understand the need for early detection and screening. We're trying to normalize the fact that at least one time per year, go in to see your healthcare provider. Because some of the symptoms, for example, with prostate cancer, some of the very early signs might be things that they didn't even think about. It could be just something as simple as a change in the pattern of their urination. So they might be urinating and then it stops, and then there's another flow of urine again. And there are other conditions that can mimic that.
Yes.
But we want you to get comfortable with not self-diagnosing, or in our lingo, don't drink liquor tea. This is not gas.
Right.
This can certainly be something that requires further evaluation. And, you know, in the later stages of prostate cancer, this is when persons might be seeing some blood in the semen. There's blood in the urine, right? And that's when the panic sets in, because no, there's something really going on. But it started off as something simple as just changes to the urinary pattern. But if you were going in and having the screening tests at least one time per year with a trusted healthcare provider, many of these things could have been averted, Lady D.
That's right. And that's what Shanique is saying. She says, love this. I notice men usually come in only when it's affecting their sexual function or it's threatening their manhood.
Exactly. And that leads us to the next topic of the erectile dysfunction, because part of the prostate cancer and testicular cancer, some men have the symptoms based on how they're being treated. So sometimes, depending on the type of treatment that they get, it can lead them into having erectile dysfunction issues. And of course, you know, we know erectile dysfunction is the inability to get or attain or sustain an erection for sexual pleasure. And for men, sex is a big deal, right? For men, I think, men and women, Kevin says, and women. So, but tonight is man talk. But for men, sex is a big deal. And I do think that when things start impacting the manhood or the ability for them to attain or sustain an erection, that is going to get them into the office much quicker than me saying to them, hey, can you come in and check your blood sugar? But guess what? Factors such as diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, those are all things that can lead persons to be experiencing erectile dysfunction. So here you are worried about the manhood in that regard. But the truth of the matter is it truly starts off with those type of disease processes. So sometimes there can even be psychological things that are happening. We know depression and anxiety also impacts men as equal to women. But men have a way where they just don't want to talk. They're not into going to therapy. They're not into trying to solve anything with the psychosocial aspect. They are more likely to say, let me just go have a drink. Let me hold a meds with a brethren. But all of those things, men, impact your holistic health. And this erectile dysfunction can impact the level of how you relate to your partner, how you relate to your spouse. This can impact whether or not you get to procreate. Can you have a child? If you're unable to sustain or attain an erection, it is quite possible that you may have ejaculatory issues as well. So there's a lot to unpack here, and I know our time is limited, but I wanted men to know the long and short of what we're here saying tonight, whether it be testicular cancer, prostate cancer, erectile dysfunction. We are encouraging you to go and have some level of health promotion, health screenings done. Screenings can be as simple as going in to see your healthcare provider for a 30-minute visit. It can be a quick blood test, and early detection can save a life.
Well, as
And
you
that is what
say,
I want to leave with you tonight.
but Dr. We can go a little longer, man. That's fine.
Okay.
No,
okay.
yeah, we
okay.
can. I did say to them that we have an extended, version of the show this evening.
Okay,
yes, so
perfect.
that's fine. So, as you mentioned about blood test, say about 19 years ago, a friend of mine had gone in to donate blood for his brother or something to that effect. And that's how they picked it up.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
right away he had to start treatment, and he's still here today.
Wow.
So
So
it
give
is
thanks to his brother.
right. Give thanks to his brother. If you're just joining us, welcome to Health Zone this evening. And my guests are Dr. Renee Clarke and husband Kevin Clarke. They're both from Dykal Health and Wellness in Florida. And what I like is the tiny dissemination, how you timely disseminate your information so everybody who is listening can understand. What I'm asking now, have you had to, all right, maybe give a diagnosis and say, well, you have to now tell your spouse, or have your spouse come in with you, things of that nature? Because I'm sure when a girlfriend, a wife, get some information like that, and maybe she says, and it's a long time I was telling him, and that blame game presents itself.
Yes. And that's actually is very common for us, especially as it relates to the erectile dysfunction underlying causes. Because a lot of the women, they will sit there and watch the general habits that men have, what they eat, what they're drinking, the smoking, the things that they are indulging in, and they will preach. They'll get on a soapbox, and the men will ignore it because after a while it sounds like, boy, she nagging me, man. And you thought that she was just being nagging about what you're eating, drinking, the smoking, so on and so forth. But she was truly, genuinely concerned, again, for your holistic health. And when he finally comes in and he says, and I'll ask the question because I'm very, very open and honest, and it's a part of what we talk about. How is the sex life? And I will get the sigh. And that sigh is usually very telling. And I ask about the erections, the strength of the erections. How long are you able to last? And we're an adult program, so we're all adults and understand what those things mean. And sometimes men, they get so embarrassed. But I have a nice way of calming them down and just sitting and letting them know, one, what I'm talking to you about means that I value you as a patient and as a person. Your concerns are valid, and this is between us here. So nobody else is outside here in your business. This is just us having a conversation. Level with me. And when I talk like that, because they don't expect it, they see this young girl with an afro, sitting down, and here she is talking to them, and she actually knows what she's talking about. And then first, when they enter the office, they meet Kevin. Kevin is a man's man. He has the big smile, he has the big heart, and he makes them feel right at home. So that's one vantage point that I feel like we have in our office that has helped many of our men to just come out and really want to talk about what's going on. And so when we were deciding on services to offer, erectile dysfunction became one of those big topics that we realized even young men were facing. And we did hormone testing for these men. We do hormone replacement for them. Some men need a bit of testosterone replacement. And I am a preferred, bioidentical pellet provider in the Fort Lauderdale area working with a company called Sotopelli, and we do bioidentical hormone pellet injections in the office for these men.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I want to say to you that 6:30 has now become 12 o'clock again for a lot of these men. And that is how I will put it, and I will leave it right there. And I'll let Kevin talk about his experience with just dealing with them as they come to the office as well.
Yes.
Because when he talks to them, he levels with them, and he will say to them, listen, I have to do my screening. I am of a certain age now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'll let him chime in on that.
Sure.
part.
Thank you. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes. Yep. So, I mean, in essence, you know, I mean, as we get older, we recognize the how should I put this? We recognize the use of your knowledge, right? Now, when we're young, we might know things and we feel like, okay, we feel like we know it all. But the older you get, you recognize you don't know it all, and then you recognize that what you know you should share. So as I am going through in age and I become that little bit wiser with a couple more gray hairs on my head every day, I have recognized how to interact a little bit differently with these individuals. So when men come in, it's like we talk on a level that, okay, I might be your provider, I might be your healthcare provider, I might be your nurse, or I might be your RN, etc. But I'm also a man just like you. I'm also a man, an older man just like you are. So I understand as things are going, I understand the idea of the ego. I understand the idea of being masculine, the idea of being the provider, being the protector, etc., and the idea of not wanting to seem vulnerable.
Yes.
So those are the different levels that we have to connect with each other on, and recognizing that, hey, this is not the moment for being macho, because macho will block you from understanding what's happening with your body and how you can change that.
That's right.
So those are the levels that we actually try to connect with individuals coming into our clinic, into our wellness area, and into our space, so that we can help them to improve their health and get them back to that level where, as Renee said, 6:30 is now 12 o'clock.
That's right. So I'm sorry.
Yes.
So it's
very important.
Very important. Now it's time to make the appeal.
Yes. Tonight, as a young woman from Jamaica and a young man from Jamaica, we understand the challenges that the culture brings. We understand the history, the background. Jamaicans are proud people. Caribbean people in general, we're proud people. What we do want for each person listening here tonight is to know that your star player that looks back at you in the mirror every morning, that star player matters. We are gifted with this one life. We get to cross this path one time. Let us do it right. When we have looked in the history of our ancestors or great-grandparents, they sometimes lived long lives, but were in poor health. Let us each look into ourselves and find ways and means in which we can change that for our generations to come. If you are already suffering from some level of chronic disease, let us work collaboratively to help you to maximize the length of days that you can with this chronic disease. If it's diabetes, let us help you to get to a more normal hemoglobin A1C. If it's high blood pressure, let us teach you strategies and give you tools that will help to keep those blood pressures in more normal ranges. Because as we know, all of those chronic things impact the who you are and the essence of who you will become. We need you, men. Your wives need you. Your children need you. You are valid, you are valuable, and you matter. And that is my appeal to the men of our diaspora tonight. And I'll let Kevin wrap up with his.
Yes.
You know, to add to everything that Renee has said, one of the biggest reasons we have actually ended up with Dykal Health and Wellness was the fact that as we did our travels through our healthcare career, we recognized that there were not many that were like us, that looked like us, that we could actually go to. Every time I went to the doctor, we wanted someone who was able to see us, understand our background, understand where we're coming from. And we, for the most part, were missing those levels of connections. And that is the reason why we entered this space. We want to be that person that you can look in the mirror and you realize that it's someone that will understand you, someone from your culture, someone who looks like you, someone who can allow you to be able to explain and express yourself in a comfortable setting, in a comfortable area, and even discussing uncomfortable things.
Yes, absolutely.
We are here for you, and we want you to be able to come on out, do your annual wellness screenings, even if it's not with us. We are not asking you to come to Dykal only. What we're asking you to do is to go out, go to your providers, get yourselves checked out, men. As you're getting older, get those age-related screenings done, and as the younger ones, go out annually and get yourself checked out. That's my call to action.
Man Talk this evening on Health Zone. And oh my goodness, have we garnered so much more than we could have envisioned here this evening. I am so grateful for the information, the research that you both put into it, your delivery. I just think that everybody listening here this evening should walk away knowing that the next man they see, they should have a conversation with.
Yes,
Simple.
absolutely.
Let's take a quick call. Good evening. Welcome to Health Zone.
Good evening. Let me say good evening to Kevin and his wife. How are you all doing?
We are doing good.
We're doing well. Let me tell you something. I always take that test. It's so uncomfortable. So what I do, I ask the hospital to give me a female, and they always send two ladies. They feel more comfortable.
Okay.
So you have found a strategy that works better for you, having a female provider to help with that exam.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm asking a question. What should men do to avoid the prostate cancer?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat your question? Your phone cut out a little bit.
He's
there.
asking what should men do to avoid being diagnosed with prostate cancer?
So, getting your health screenings is always a preventative method, but also taking care of your health from a holistic standpoint. So, of course, the mental health is important, the social, all of those, but the physical health, you want to make sure the blood pressure stays normal, the hemoglobin A1C that checks your blood sugars, we want that to stay normal. Your cholesterol levels, we want that to stay normal, because cancer can build up in the body when there are abnormal cells. And just, of course, sexual health is also going to be paramount where this is concerned. So practicing good sexual hygiene, having your sexual health screenings on an annual basis, and just staying consistent with having these age-related screenings. Those are your best preventative method. It all comes down to the lifestyle approach and lifestyle modifications. Yes, that was a great
And long-distance
question.
drivers also. Long-distance drivers. They always have prostate problems.
He's saying that
yes, because they're sitting for a very long time. Truck drivers,
right? Yes.
So they can get something
they sit
called
for a long time. If you feel, when you sit for a long time, if you feel any uncomfortableness, ease up. Bicycle riders also have it, you know. because of the seat, that pointed shaped seat. Jamaican men ride a lot of bicycles.
Yes.
And they
So
must
for
know.
our long distance drivers, we want them to do all the things that we just talked about, but also
Right.
adding even like a nice little donut on the seat. Getting up, frequently emptying
Yes.
the bladder. I know that sometimes is not possible when you're on these long trips, but hydrating, emptying the bladder, keeping things
Yeah.
nice and clear. Make sure that, you when you're pulling for a snack, it's going to be a healthier snack. Pack a cooler with some healthier choice options. So on these long journeys, you're not forced to have something that is not necessarily the greatest for your health. So you can still live a holistic, lifestyle, even being on the road for such a long time. But continue with your health screenings, do all of those things for health maintenance. And, our prayer is always that once we've done our part, then everything else will fall into place.
Thank you for calling in, Eddie. We
And
appreciate you.
Drink a lot of turmeric also.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 10 minutes to 8 o'clock. Dr. Renee and Kevin, they spent some time with us here this evening, bringing us in the know, even a toops more, right? Even a little toops more. Because I'm telling you, people often say it's like women and men who are in abusive relationships, and the onlooker says, why you don't leave?
Yeah.
And the same thing we're saying, why don't you go to the doctor, get checked? And if the diagnosis comes, didn't you see? All these questions you're being bombarded with that you can avoid, you can prevent. I'd like to thank you both, Dr. Renee Clarke. She's board certified family nurse practitioner, and Kevin Clarke, MSN RNBC, Chief Executive Officer and Clinical Informaticist.
Yes, that's it.
Right. You were excellent. Thank you. And at another time we can discuss if you'd like to join us again, because if we're not healthy people, we can't have a healthy nation.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine if you just have sick people all over the place? Productivity would be almost at a standstill.
Yes. We won't be able to function. We can't give back. There's no generativity. It's tough.
It's tough. So how is sunny Florida?
What is the legacy that we're leaving behind?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And before you go, how is sunny Florida?
Sunny Florida is beautiful. It was in the 80s today, nice and warm.
Mm-hmm.
We are out here in Naples, which is nice and cool on the water.
Alrighty. And before you go, I have a quick fun segment. So one answers only. Because you're a couple, whoever answers first, we can just say big up, big up. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Love.
It's patient.
All right. So one word answers only.
Patient.
Okay. Big up, big up. Next one. Education.
Key.
So wait, what? Kevin, you're not bringing the buzzer.
Oh, I'm just important. Am I supposed to answer this?
Yes,
as
man.
well?
Whoever answers.
Oh.
It's a rat race here now. So whoever answer first, I'll just say big up, big up.
I'm winning right here, I'm winning.
Alrighty. So next one, family.
Important. Key.
So. All right. Next one, music.
My love. Love.
All right. Next, health.
Wealth.
Parents.
Important.
teaching?
Necessary.
Sure. All right. Everybody ready right there. And finally, Renee Clarke, Kevin Clarke.
Love.
The love of my life.
Wonderful. Thank
Many
you.
more words. I'm not use just one word for him.
I know. I was just pushing the button right there. But I understand. You were both very, very solid presenters, and we'd like to thank you for joining us here on Health Zone, on Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez on Linkage Radio in Mount Vernon, New York. So, walk good, you here?
Yep. Thank
Yes,
you so much.
walk good. And don't drink liquor tea. It's not always gas.
Right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, man. I have done health segments. Remember Dr. Monica Martin? She was exceptional. And now I have Renee and Kevin bringing their perspective to these topics that we are struggling with: testicular cancer, prostate cancer, and erectile dysfunction. 3 very key important elements of the masculine gender. And again, men are known to be the driving force in the dynamism of family structure. You are supposed to be the covering. You're supposed to be the go-getter, the provider. And if you are falling by the wayside, what happens is that the women have to step in. They can't be you. They just have to keep managing, moving along, picking up the pieces while you are just waning away. You have to see yourselves as that force to be reckoned with. So when they see you, there is nothing anybody can say that you are not a healthy man, a man that's driven to succeed and to take care of your family and to fear God. What else can I say? Thanks to everyone for tuning in and keeping my company this evening. Yes, it was a center stage with a difference. There are times when you just have to do what you have to do and ensure that you are helping somebody along. You think we can just listen music every day just so? Again, if we're not healthy people, we can't have a healthy nation. All are we just sick, so what's going to happen? Well, that's a wrap for the show this evening. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue, for sponsoring the show. I appreciate them so much. We had a great time at the Customer Appreciation Day this past Saturday. It was fun, and I met people and said hello and take picture. Not a lot, but it was nice just being there. And just want to let you know also that coming up on August 5, the Fun in the Sun, the 12th District Community Engagement Fun in the Sun, will be held at the home of Astor Little League baseball field. That's 2701 Bruner Avenue, right in that vicinity of Home Depot right there. There's a field on the left-hand side where they have baseball and stuff going on. So we are going to be on that field this year. Customarily, we would have been at Evander Childs football field, but they're working on the field now, so we couldn't get the space. But man, God just help us to find a space. So that's where we're going to be on August 5. We'll be starting at 10 a.m. through to 9 p.m. And we have Healthy Village, Children's Village, Healthy Village, Children's Village, Wealthy Village, where you will get your information on investment and banking and savings and all of that. And we'll be having our RTs. So by Monday now, I can just pop them out and give you. But I'm looking forward to seeing you. It's a free event. but it's a community engagement event, so we'll be having food and clothing, free distribution, all the things that we usually do. So looking forward to that. Next week, Sunday, the 25th, will be, the 25th will be the all-white affair boat ride put on by the Clothing Network for the Good Neighbors Community Outreach Agency. And we'll be leaving out of the One World's Fair Marina on the Paddle Queen from 6 to 10 p.m. The tickets are $60, so we look forward to seeing you. Those of you who want to go, call me, and I'll be able to connect you to Claudia and her team to get tickets. Busy time, busy time, busy time. So when I was little, I used to walk about a lot, go up to people's house with my friends and have fun, and I didn't know what time to go back home to my yard. And so they would come look for me and call out my name around the community. Dennis, anybody see Dennis? And when they finally find me now, they tell me if it go on up, galang up, dark yourself up. So I'm going to dark myself up to my yard right now and wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And please try to be safe as I try to do the same. I'm looking forward to being back on Monday to do it all over again from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. with the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. May God you're here. Blessings. It is now 8:01.
You're locked on to the number one radio station. Number one radio station.
They play the best music.
Number one. The best music.
New York, I introduce the best ice cream factory located in Mount Vernon, 408 East Sanford Boulevard. Call and place your order at 914-699